Some 24 hours ago, the polling stations closed. The last vote had been cast, and in accordance with the law, police stood guard and candidates looked on while the ballot boxes were sealed, ready to be taken away for the counting. With police walking behind them to see that they are not tampered with, the boxes are carried into the counting centre of each constituency, where it is the returning officer's duty to see that they are sorted, counted, and the result announced. The papers are smoothed out first and stacked into heaps, one for each candidate according to the voter's mark. Then, in the presence of the candidate or his official agent, they are counted. And so, through the night, under the anxious eyes of candidates of all parties, this great assessment of the nation's choice went on. In newspaper offices, pressmen were waiting impatiently for the first results and for the running of their special editions. And what of the public themselves? Election night has always been gala night, and election balls and gatherings were going on everywhere far into the night. Despite the rain, cheerful and unwearying crowds packed Piccadilly Circus too, watching illuminated signs flashing their messages across the sky, cheering or remaining glumly silent as their champions won or lost. It was an occasion for one of those rare extensions of licensing hours, and on the pub radios, the story of gain and loss came through.
12,370. The Liberal, Independent and Communist candidates lose their deposits. That was London, Woolwich East.
Even by the fireside, the excitement of great events in the making charged the atmosphere, as one by one results were marked up.
694, G.F. Greenbank, Conservative and National Liberal, 12,527, J.S. Snowden, Liberal, 5,565.
And on the television screen, there was the added visual excitement of the special election program.
300 constituencies are not starting to count until tomorrow morning.
Meanwhile, the monumental task of counting millions of votes went on. This must, by law, be begun as soon as practicable after polling ceases, and, once started, must go on without stopping until completed. It is the returning officer's responsibility then to announce the result.
Ladies and gentlemen, I declare that the total number of votes given for each candidate at the election was as follows. Gammons Leonard David, 33,927. Jones George Jordan, 1,191. Levers Adrienne Annie Ellen Marjorie, 5,122. Pastel Reginald Alfred, 22,832.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want...
Comrades and friends, comrades and friends,
ladies and gentlemen, the election has been decided by a vote of the people of this division. The election is over until next time. This behavior on the part of people of opposing parties is not in the tradition of British politics.
Almost before the public announcement had been made in the constituency, it would, thanks to radio, be known all round the world. As the night wore on, the news boards became busier and busier. At the Savoy Hotel in London, the Daily Telegraph were entertaining 2,000 guests. And still the crowds in the streets thickened. By the early hours, the first special results editions of the newspapers were on sale, confirming the flickering messages of the electric signs, and always the radio announcements.
Minister of Education, Mr. Key, Minister of Works, Mr. Chuter Eade, Home Secretary, Mr. Douglas J., Economic Secretary to the Treasury, Mr. Anarin Bevin, Minister of Health, Mr. Markham, Minister of Pensions, Mr. Harold Wilson, President of the Board of Trade, Mr. Arthur Henderson, Secretary of State for Air.
Here is a final scene. Irrespective of personalities, parties and creeds, it well exemplifies the spirit of reason and free opinion that still makes the British electoral system one of the fairest in the world today.
hereby I declare that the total number of votes given for each candidate at the election was as follows. Attlee, Clement Richard, 21,095. Hutchinson, Hugh Lester, 704. Paul, John Arthur, 8,988. Pym, Alan Wakefield, 4,102. I therefore declare the said Clement Richard Attlee the duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honourable Clement Attlee will address you.
I would like to say that I believe that this has been a good fight. I'm quite sure that on our side, and I think on all sides, it has been concentrated on issues of political importance, that there has been no personalities, no horseplay, no anything of that kind. I'd like, therefore, to pay that tribute to my opponents in moving this vote of thanks.